Welcome to The Real Authority. Today I'm talking about Mercy, the brand new Chris Pratt action-ish vehicle. I mean, there's a category for these kind of films called Screen Life, and that's the same genre as War of the Worlds. So now we've gone from this.
Hey, yo, why am I locked in?
The government's locked down because of the aliens. Also, the director needed to work around COVID, so sorry, buddy. Also, we're canceling the theatrical release.
Motherfucker.
To this. Wait, where am I? Why am I chained up?
You've been arrested for the murder of your wife, and you only have 90 minutes to prove your innocence. Chris Pratt.
Well, I'm dead. And that knocks out the plot synopsis there, so yay. Yeah, I didn't really have high expectations for this. It kind of felt like another January movie that they probably spent a high budget on. I was willing to give this movie the benefit of the doubt. It was not just because War of the Worlds stunk. Because I heard other Screen Life movies were actually good, making me wonder why I haven't seen Searching and Missing yet. But for this movie, it just looked very generic. It looked like it had all the potential in the world to be great, and I was very hopeful that I was right about that. That was only kind of in the back of my head. The front of my head was like, it's probably going to stink, it's probably going to scream wasted potential, and I was kind of right. I'm not going to deny it has its moments, because it truly does, but overall, it just feels like a movie that squanders its potential. I will say it's better than War of the Worlds, but it was very impossible to be worse than War of the Worlds. Also, fun fact, you may think War of the Worlds was Amazon's production. No, that was actually Universal. Universal basically gave Amazon the distribution rights. I just want to say that in case you're thinking, oh, Amazon made two bad Screen Life movies. No, Amazon just released two bad Screen Life movies. Maybe bad's a strong word for Mercy because Chris Pratt, he's miscast. Let's just be real here. Like, I'm not denying he's capable of dramatic work, but he's mainly a comedic actor. And the movie does unfortunately lean a bit into that comedic side, but I can't deny Pratt is giving the best performance of the movie. Like, in a lot of moments, you do feel his frustration as well as his confusion and desperation in trying to live, especially with this amazing concept. So although actors like Tom Hiddleston could have easily fit the shoes and probably done a better job than Pratt, I will admit he does give the best performance of the movie. And the concept is really strong too. Maybe not realistic, but this is a sci-fi movie. I mean, I don't think this is going to be the way of life by 2029 because they actually set a date for when this future is actually going to happen. Next year, we're going to be killed by the robots if James Cameron's prediction's right. I know it's going to be wrong, but But better to be safe than sorry, am I right? Man, I almost hurt. But the concept of you have everything at your disposal in trying to find this information, but you only have 90 minutes to prove you are innocent, that's very interesting. I'll give the movie that. Although the screenplay is, we'll get to that. Timur Bekmambetoov's directing was definitely trying to elevate the material to something actually decent. Like, the visuals were neat too. Like, the directing really does try its best to make this feel more emotionally resonant than it ultimately is. Plus, to its credit, it has many unique and creative shots in which Chris Pratt is in this one location and the visuals are just trying to transport him into a different one. Although in reality, he's still in the same room. A lot of that can have to do with Khalid Mostaseb's, I hope I'm saying that right, cinematography. But yeah, some cool visuals here thanks to the directing, cinematography, and the visual effects. Although this is not exactly a home run positive, at least it's short, an hour and 40 minutes. Like, I do feel if it would have been longer, I would probably be more upset. Then again, War of the Worlds is that runtime, so what is that saying in particular? But yeah, it's mercifully short. I wasn't even intentionally doing that as a joke, by the way. Let's move on to what I didn't like. Although Pratt does a decently solid job at selling his character, I feel like the rest of the cast, they really do not have a lot to do. Like, the two other stars that I thought would be reliable figures were Rebecca Ferguson and Annabelle Wallis. Starting off with Wallis, her role is basically just there, not really given any amount of significant material, so moving on. Really sucks though, because Wallis is underrated and the roles she's taken don't really do her any favors, so I'm hoping she finds another Malignant sometime soon. Ferguson, like, I understand why she's robotic, so I'll add another positive. She at least sells the robotic nature of her character as an AI. But this really does feel like the easiest paycheck of her career, because Rebecca Ferguson is known for being a talented actor. And with this, she just does dead-eye stares, like, and maybe sometimes smiling, smirking, because why not? That's why the thumbnail's so generic. I wasn't even gonna do, But yeah, it was very disappointing. Like, she sells the character perfectly fine, but she really doesn't have that much substance. Maybe intentionally so, but yeah. As a person familiar with Ferguson's work, this is probably one of her weakest performances, but she does fine. Marco Van Bell's screenplay, on the other hand, yeah, the screenplay's rough. I hesitate to call it a complete failure because the concept really gives it a lot more than it ultimately deserves. But it's with this screen life gimmick and this concept, like, it could have worked, but my main issue with most of the movie is that they set it in this one room, and it really does feel limiting. I haven't seen Searching yet, but I do feel like the screen life gimmick will probably lend itself to effective storytelling there. But the screenplay really doesn't give a lot to care about. Again, the unmemorability of the characters, aside from Chris Pratt, is very noticeable. Again, Wallace is wasted, but the rest of the characters, like Chris Pratt is trying to like find the actual murderer. I'm not going to spoil anything in case you're curious, because at least it's interestingly boring. But I mean, you're just left there thinking to yourself, well, I want to see who actually did it. If it's Pratt, I don't care. If it's someone else, I don't care. If it's a character that we've seen numerous times or very little, I don't care. I say I don't care not because I don't want to care. I just feel like the movie didn't give me a lot of reasons to care. I mean, maybe the IMAX 3D experience made me care, but I can't exactly say that's a benefit to the movie. Just because the IMAX 3D was pretty cool doesn't mean it's, thematically rich. But yeah, if you want some cool visuals and only that, IMAX 3D is probably your best option. But yeah, the screenplay really is not strong enough to make me, a casual moviegoer, really feel invested in this narrative, even though it's trying so desperately to like show a sign of a potential future we may be heading towards, which I do understand its attempt to do it, but for this movie it kind of needed to be a lot more entertaining. Like, I'm not saying that the message is bad here, I'm just saying I really do wish the message was brought home in a more enjoyable package. Also, did I say it was boring? Yeah. It's not as boring as War of the Worlds or last year's most boring movie of the year, Eeny Meeny. Like, it's far from that, and the movie at least leaves you interested. And again, I was interested in that Netflix movie Uglies a few years ago, and that was one of the worst movies of that year. So, what does that say? It basically says, and the movie says overall, if you want a decent enough mystery to like try and unravel with the audience, or just want some solid visuals with a decently likable performance from Chris Pratt and some inventive concepts, you're definitely gonna get some of that here. I don't know, it's just like the concept really is making me want to like this movie more than I ultimately did. It's probably gonna be fun editing this though, I'll say that. I guess the bottom line is, if you thought the trailers for Mercy were your thing, you'll probably like this. If you thought it was probably not going to be good, you are not going to be surprised. Extenuating circumstances for me is I knew the AMC Screen Unseen was going to be Mercy just by the fact that it was IMAX 3D. You may be able to get away with waiting until streaming, and if you really think the theatrical experience is worthy of this movie, IMAX 3D. Otherwise, it's not even a 5 out of 10. The Real Authority rejects 4 out of 10. Because it just screams wasted potential. It has its moments, and I was actually engaged with the finale. Otherwise, January movie. At least Pratt does fine. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, to our post notifications, and comment your thoughts on the movie, and let me know what your favorite screen life movie is, because I haven't really seen that much, but since it's a genre, I'd be curious to hear. Alright, peace.